been longer than
There we
that.
go.
How long have you guys been reading?
Stand by, he said. Wait.
Stand by.
Now we go.
I call the regular meeting of January 18, 2022 to order. Councilperson Blake will do the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom with a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Mrs. Dowling? Here. Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Kirchner?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
Here.
Mr. Marne?
Here. Council, you received the minutes of the organizational meeting of January 4th, 2022. What is your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes. Minutes of the January 4th, 2022 organizational meeting are hereby approved. Public hearings, there are none. Tabled legislation, we have none. New legislation, ordinance number 22-0-003.
An ordinance to authorize transfers of funds and revisions to appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flipiak, anything to report on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malinowski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. Members of council, this ordinance does two main things. Firstly, it authorizes a permanent cash transfer out of the city's general fund needed to close out the portion of the Lake County Visitors Bureau grant. And then secondly, there are a handful of appropriation revisions for the current year, 2022, primarily an oversight on not appropriating the international trade base amount. So we're picking up oversight there and appropriating $49,250 into the current year budget, as well as a $4,250 appraisal service fee that was incurred before year end. And then there's also a just under $11,000 increase to the TIF fund to cover State Route 306 bridge repairs. And a $402 offsetting decrease increase between wages and benefits on a state grant fund. I would recommend approval. Thank you.
Council?
Move to approve.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes. Ordinance number 22-0-0. Oh,
Move to approve.
second. Thank you. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes. Ordinance number 22-0-003 has been approved. Ordinance number 22-0-004.
An ordinance to levy assessments for the construction of certain sidewalks in Zone 2A associated with the 2020 Sidewalk Repair and Pedestrian Safety Program in the city of Mentor and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, these are final assessments for the last sidewalk, completed sidewalk zone. Mr. Swigger?
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. The city sidewalk contractor, RMH Concrete and Foundations, has completed repairs to sidewalks in Zone 2A. Approximately 800 slabs of concrete sidewalks were replaced through assessment on 250 properties. The cost for the construction of the assessed portion of the work totaled $155,492.13. Administrative costs for mailing and advertising totaled $25 per property. The total aggregate cost of assessments, including the cost of construction, administrative cost, and interest, totaled $168,150.22. This legislation is an ordinance for the Ohio Revised Code for assessments of the construction of sidewalks over parcels listed in Exhibit A. Upon council approval of this ordinance, total assessment against each parcel of land can be paid to the Director of Finance within 30 days. After the 30-day window expires, the assessment totals will be sent to the Lake County Auditor for collection with the general taxes in 6 semi-annual installments over a period of 3 years. Additionally, a notice will be published in a News Herald stating that such assessment has been made and is on file with the Office of the Clerk of Council and available for inspection. The city began this program in 2012. Zone 2A represents our 9th zone. The city was broken into 17 zones and a 13-year program. We plan on finishing inspection of this first program in 2025 with construction in 2026 and the final assessment in 2027. The cost of 4-inch concrete in 2021 was $7.25 per slab, approximately $180 $7.25 per square foot with $180 per slab. Thank you.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-0-004 has been approved. Second readings, there are none. Third readings, there are none. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Obviously, due to the large amount of snow, a parking ban was placed into effect. That will remain in effect until such time as, obviously, it's realistic to have cars parking on the roadways. Also, we want to remind residents that the snow did cause a one-day delay in garbage pickup, so garbage pickup this week is delayed by 1 day. City of Mentor's Hometown Heroes Banner Program returns in 2022 to honor current or former Mentor residents who have served our country in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard. Banners will be displayed from Memorial Day through Veterans Day on light posts in front of the Civic Center campus. Families and organizations can sponsor banners for $100 each to cover production costs. A limited number of banners positions are available. Application and additional information is available on the city's website, and we remind residents that at the end of that display period, they are given those banners to keep. There's a PowerPoint presentation at the Mentor Senior Center on January 24th at 12 p.m. to present property tax reduction opportunities and other programs for seniors. It is jointly sponsored by Lake County Treasurer Zurant and Lake County Auditor Galloway. Fire Department reminds our residents that with temperatures now below freezing, that any sudden warming can cause water lines to burst, causing damage. Here are a few helpful tips to keep your home business safe from water damage. Look for water lines that are exposed to an unheated area and know the location of your water shutoffs. Keep your thermostat above 55 degrees throughout the winter. Consider additional attic and crawl space insulation. Keep garage doors closed and keep a slight drip on faucets. Last week, the existing traffic signal at Wayside Drive on Mentor Avenue was taken out of service temporarily for conversion to the new traffic signal. The wiring was transferred from the existing traffic controller to the new traffic control signal. That signal is now functional, but will remain covered until January 28th at the intersection there at Trader Joe's. So we anticipate that we'll probably have that up so people can get used to it about a week or so ahead of the opening. It'll function pretty much how you see it functioning at Whalers Cove and Springbrook Park, where those two lights kind of work in tandem. Mentor's Chill Out Day is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Civic Center Park. Admission and most events are free, so if you're not already sick of the snow and the cold, come on out for a little family fun. That's all.
Clerk's correspondence. Julie?
Council is, council is in receipt of the Mentor Municipal Court month-end report for December 2021. That is all.
Commission and committee reports. Meeting minutes, Board of Building and Zoning Appeals, December 14, 2021. Old business. New business. You have none?
Mr. President?
Oh, so, Mr. Kirschner?
Under new business, I would like to nominate Mentor
sorry.
resident Alec Koenig to serve the remainder of the 4-year term on the Board of Zoning Appeals ending 12/31/2023. Alex Koenig.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Alexander Koenig has been appointed to the Board of Building and Zoning Appeals to an unexpired term ending December 31st, 2023. Is there any other new business to discuss? Any other new business? Persons before council? We have none.
Mr. President,
Mr. Martin.
request to adjourn into executive session to discuss pending legal.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We're going to make it short, too.
Julie, please call a roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
No.
Mrs. Dowling?
No.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Council, we move to executive session.
Mr. President, I move to go back into regular council session.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes. Second.
Meeting is adjourned.